The ceremony is about to begin.
Shalom, Koloyim La Yahweh Shemel Shai. What's good, Daban Sales of GMS and Honesty Lakim. Peace and blessings to you, brothers and sisters that listen. Hope for the legs, Koloyim La Yahweh Shemel Shai. Inspired to the lesson day to the power Yahweh Shemel Shai. See one of the elders do the video on whole Burning Man situation. And This week also you had the West Indian Day Parade. And early in the year you had that Mardi Gras over there in New Orleans, which it all is the spirit of Bacchus, man. All right? The god of intoxication, ecstasy, fertility. All right? Drunken revelry, man. All right? That orgy spirit, man. All these so-called parades and festivals, that's all that represents sexual decadence. All right? Lewdness, man. That's why the scripture says the Most High, he mingled a perverse spirit in the land that caused everybody in Egypt to err. All right? That's the spirit these people, these Babylonians are in, even though judgment is here. Right? They're about to, like we go into all the time, where the prophets say Yahweh Shemel Shah, where the watchmen from the elders and the apostles on down. We all tell you what's coming to Babylon, man. What's coming to this earth, man. What's already here. And that's the spirit the majority of these people are in. That's what the scripture says, that folly, foolishness is set in great dignity, man. And this is the same type of behavior that was taking place on the earth when Noah was on the scene, man. Scripture says every man did what was wise in his own eyes. And Noah was out there prophesying, a preacher of righteousness, man. And this is why you have all this judgment taking place. All right, let me read some of them. I'm not going into it, man. Okay, that Roman God spirit, man, of just being completely careless. That Epicurean lifestyle. All right, the Most High is not with that, man. Let me see if I get these articles real quick. I don't want to do a long lesson. I just want to prove that this is Rome all over again. America invoked all the ancient spirits, man. These pagan gods from these various empires. Right? Let me get this first article, though. Let's start with Mardi Gras that took place in New Orleans, also known as Fat Tuesday. People all around the world go to that foolishness, man. And what happened? Let's read. It says, February 2023, one person killed in New Orleans shooting along Mardi Gras parade route, police say. 5 people were shot at the Mardi Gras parade Sunday night. That scripture says, don't be quick to follow a multitude to do evil, man. Do not be unequally yoked together with non-believers. That's why the precept says that, man. Because the spirit of death is out here. The spirit of judgment is out here, man. Okay, all these profane things these people are doing, they marked. Especially you Israelites, man, down there in New Orleans. That's why New Orleans always get jacked up, man. Plus, y'all have this gumbo where y'all just have a pot of an abominations, raccoon, alligator, and all sorts of swine, all sorts of abominable things, man. A profane dish. That's what the Most High is going, like we said, 2/3 of you going to die right here in Babylon. Right, it says one person was detained at the scene in connection with the gunfire. Authorities identified a suspect, blah, blah, blah. We don't care. It's judgment of the Lord anyway. They said police said a shooting happened along the route of the Cruet of Bacchus parade. So there you go. That's a Bacchus parade, man. All right. These just the spirit of Bacchus in different forms. These so-called festivities, man. All right. It's all the spirit of Bacchus or Dionysus. All right, just like you had the Burning Man festival. Let me get that, right? Which is also known as Wicker. You see, which the Celts used to do. The Druids, with that big statue where they burn animals as well as people. That's what that Burning Man thing is, man. And thousands of people go there every year to take part in that event. But this time, the Most High ruined the party, man. It says Burning Man organizers, let's read it real quick. It says a Lyft driving ban after heavy rains left the event smothered in mud and trapped thousands. So people were trapped there, man. It says hundreds of trucks, RVs, and other vehicles are journeying out of the Burning Man festivals grounds after heavy rains trapped tens of thousands of people in a makeshift city and surrounded them with ankle-deep mud too thick to drive, and they were trapped, man. Okay, and you see the pictures, you can see the videos and the news reports. It was absolute chaos, right? So the Most High ruined that party, man. And you can look at the videos and Maple videos in the post-production. That lascivious spirit, okay? That damn pornographic spirit, that Roman and that Greco-Roman spirit that take place at these events, man. that Epicurean lifestyle, man, that Epicurean way of thinking, that carefree. That's why we said before, the scripture says that foolishness is set in great dignity, man. All right, and that's ultimately the spirit of America, aka Babylon. That's why I invoke a lot of these spirits from these ancient empires, man. Okay, that's why they celebrate these pagan holidays, Halloween coming up, Christmas. You know, we always do videos on the origin of that, man. Right? It's all pagan. Just like these festivals that we're going into right now. And of course, we had the West Indian Day Parade. Okay, so this Burning Man thing that happened this week, last week and into this week, Judgment of the Lord. Mardi Gras, that was February, and then you had the West Indian Day Parade that also took place on Labor Day as well. Judgment of Yahweh Bashim El Shah, man. Are you wicked ass Benjamites, man? Okay, and Levites that be out there mainly, particularly those two. And you have Ephraim and Simeon out there in Judah, but it's mainly those two, man. That Caribbean Day Parade. What it says, man fatally shot amid Monday night parties near West Indian Day Parade, series of violent incidents of Mars, Brooklyn celebration. Judgment, 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 and just more judgment, man. Why are we not surprised? Look how you idiots are carrying yourselves, man. Right? In that bohemian spirit. And that's why the Most High judge y'all. Right? The script says high time to wake up out of sleep, man. It's high time, man. No more time for games anymore, man. After C-19 hit, that should have been a huge wake-up call for the majority of you Israelites, man. But you're all still in that folly spirit, man. That carefree spirit, man. And it's going to cost you your life, man. Right? So, you know, particularly I want to go into those three, you know, Bacchus and Dionysus, you know, put a little, in the post-production, go a little intro on that Roman god, Greco-Roman god, and how the scriptures, when the Greeks came into Jerusalem, they try to get our people, which they did back then, and that was the beginning of the Hellenization period, where Jews started holding fast to Greekish fashions. Let's get the book of 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And let me get 1 Ezra's, the 3rd chapter. Okay, after this, man. Because what's the driving force behind these festivities and these parades is liquor. And the scripture tells you that's one of the strongest things, man, is wine, man. Let me get that after this. But let me get the book of 2 Maccabees first. 2 Maccabees 6, verse 1. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High, and to pollute also the temple of Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, which is equivalent to Zeus, Olympus, and that in Garzarim, the Jupiter of the defender of the strangers, as it is desired that they dwelt in the place. The coming of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riots and reveling, right? That's like you got at these parades and these festivals, by the Gentiles, the heathens, who dally with harlots. And you see the woman there, and all, like we said, well, we're going to read on. And had to do with the woman with the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. The altar was filled with profane things. What Aishah was doing. Because Aishah, he's a profane man. He's a vile man. All right? She says nobody's more profane than Aishah, man. In Hebrews, the 12th chapter. Who for one Muslim he sold his birthright, man. All right? He's a profane. He was created to be that way, man. Scripture says the Most High is not in all his thoughts. All right? So, now let me read on. Let's read on. It says, that's verse 5. The altar also filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days, or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Okay, and that was the beginning. We started losing our identity. Okay, the other empires, the Babylonians and the Persians, we held on to that, but the Greeks is when we started parting away. And as you can see what they were doing when they tackled Jerusalem, they said, don't confess yourself at all to be a Jew, don't keep the Sabbaths, the fast, the high holy days, started filling the altar with profane things and bringing harlots. And scripture says rioting and reveling. That's that Greco-Roman spirit, man. Right? Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth every month, they brought up the bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. When the fast of Bacchus, was kept, the Jews were compelled to go into procession of Bacchus carrying ivy, man. So they were observing and doing and partaking of these Greek fashions, man, and became Hellenized. And one of the gods they were told to observe was a Bacchus, man. All right, so that's the origin of it. Now you got people they're willingly doing it. Back then they were forced to do it. Until, of course, we know you had a remnant of the Jews, which you always did. The Most High always have a remnant that rebelled against that, and that's us today. Starting with Matthias and his sons, Judas Maccabees on down, man. We're rebelling against this place, man. That's why we condemn this place, man. We not in that spirit, man. Okay? And like we said, the driving force behind these parades, that's what scripture talks about, wine, man. Which wine is good, it makes men glad, like the scripture says, but if it is drunk moderately. Let's get the book of First Ezra. First Ezra chapter 3. Let's see where we at. 3 verse 20. Right? As you know, they had writings, they were speaking to Darius, and they were going into three things which they considered to be the strongest. Was it wine? Was it the king? Or was a woman? Let's go to the first, brother. It says, First Ezra chapter 3 verse 16. And he called and he said, call the young men, and they shall declare their own sentences. So they were called and came in. And he said unto them, declare unto us your mind concerning the writings. Then began the first who had spoken of the strength of wine. And he said, O ye men, how exceedingly strong is wine! It causeth all men to err that drink it. Okay, as we see people stumbling, falling, they vomit. These women are extremely careless, man, and carefree. Okay, could get these women to do anything at these parades, man. Okay, because why? A lot of people are intoxicated. That's the spirit of Bacchus, the spirit of intoxication, the spirit of ecstasy, man. You see, of course, drugs are involved as well. That scripture always tells us to be what? Sober-minded. Okay? Because when you're drunk, you do reckless things, man. That's why you always have people get locked up with DUIs, okay? Driving under the influence, man. Because of what? Because of wine. It maketh the mind of the king and the fatherless child to be one. It makes you base. It makes you degenerate if you become drunk. All right? Your senses become impaired. Of the bondman and of the free man, and of the poor man and of the rich. It turneth also every thought into jollity and mirth. There you go. There you go, man. The spirit of mirth. So that a man remembered neither sorrow nor debt. And it maketh every heart rich, so that a man remembereth neither king nor governor. And it maketh to speak all things by talents. Like they say, a drunk tongue don't lie. All right? And people start, they inner thoughts or their inner feelings, they start blurring shit out when they get drunk, man. Things that you're supposed to hold on dear to or guard, you just start spilling out when you get intoxicated. All right? That spirit of mirth. All right? It says, and when they are in their cups, they forget they love both to friends and brethren, and a little after draweth swords, like Alexander the Greek. He killed his best friend when he got intoxicated and drunk, man. All right? That scripture says, better he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. That's like being drunk, according to the scriptures. That's a sin, man. It tells you that 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. That drunkards shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High, man. Right? But when they are wine, they remember not which they have done. O ye men, is not wine the strongest that enforces to do this? And when he had said so, spoken, he held his peace. So scripture goes into the strength of the power of wine, all right, or liquor in general, man. That's why it's called spirits. All right. So, man, man, we not in that spirit, and we not in the world, man. That's why, the last highways and hedges, it's better to be in the house of mourning than the house of feasting, man. The majority of these people out here, they're in the house of feasting, man, and they can't see what's coming, man. And that's a very dangerous spirit to be in, man. All right, the scripture tells you to be circumspect and to redeem the time, for the days are evil. And our people, they're not in that spirit, man. That's why they're going to get caught off guard, because they're the children of the night. The scripture says, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2, it says, it is better to go to the house of mourning, which is this truth, the house of wisdom, okay, than to go to the house of feasting, which are these clubs also, okay, these clubs, man, which are pretty much a mini parade, nothing but liquor and harlots everywhere. And the scripture tells you, Sirach the 9th, that caused men to err. The book of Sirach, the 19th chapter. For that is the end of all men, man. Okay? Death is in them clubs, man. And the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, man. The scripture says a righteous man scarcely smile. All right? Because why? What time period are we living in? We are in the time of war. We in the time of death. We in the time of judgment, man. All right? For the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. There you go, man. They in the house of mirth. And that's why the scripture says, let me get that, Romans 13:14. Let me get the book of Luke, and I may close this lesson out. I just had to report on this to the power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. That's the spirit of Babylon. And the Most High said he was going to cause that spirit of Babylon to cease. That's why there's always judgments at these events, man. Right? Nothing but judgment, man. People dying, this always happen, man. Romans 13:14, it says, 13, it says, let us walk honestly, as in the day, not rioting and drunkenness. You have a lot of so-called Israelites, they drunk, man. All right? Scripture says they drunk, but not with wine. See, they can't see the visions or the prophecies. I'm going to do a video on that through the spirit, man. But Scripture said we're not supposed to be drunken, and we're not supposed to be like the people in the world. All right? That, like we said, that Epicurean way of thinking. We're supposed to be stoic spiritually, man. Not in chambering and wantonness, or being undisciplined, not having control over your members. Apostle Paul said that he had to keep his body under subjection. Not in strife and in envying, but put ye on the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. There you go, the spirit of lust, the spirit of covetousness. The scripture said the spirit of wantonness, the spirit of drunkenness, man. The spirit of sexual lewdness, or being lascivious, or concupiscence. That's not the spirit we're supposed to be in, man. And Yahweh Shai said, before he came back, let's get that Luke the 17th chapter. Close this out to the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Let's get this Luke 17, verse, where we at? Luke 17, verse 26. Luke 17:26. As it was in the days of Noah, so it shall also be in the days of the Son of Man, man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives. Like, you got damn homos marrying trannies, this, that. Is even worse than it was back then. Every generation gets worse and worse and worse, man. And it's going to be that way until Yahweh Shai come back. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, which were entering the chambers now. The chariots, man. But right now we in the secret place. We in these scriptures, man. And the flood came and destroyed them all, man. As she said, verse 29, but the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. The same thing, which this place has the spirit of Sodom in it. Sodomy run rampant in Babylon. And what did Solomon say? Where's the Psalm, the 10th chapter? Let me get that. And I may close this out to the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Let me see. Running short for time. Wisdom Solomon chapter 10. This is going into wisdom and how wisdom delivered our forefathers, man. All right. Let's get this. Wisdom Solomon chapter 10, verse 6. It says, when the godly perish, she delivered the righteous man who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, and those various cities, 3 other cities. But whose wickedness even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never came to ripeness. And a standing pillar of salt is a monument of an unbelieving soul, Lot's wife. That's how Shai said to remember Lot's wife. She was a monument of an unbelieving soul. She turned back. She loved her life, man. Okay? For regarding not wisdom, they gat not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them a world of memorial of their foolishness, man. So Sodom and Gomorrah was a memorial for being foolish. Okay? Nothing but reprobates in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Right? For you to want to be into the act of sodomy, you're a reprobate. And the scripture tells you in Romans, the 1st chapter, that as well. The Most High gave you up unto a reprobate mind, people that's into these things. And they perish because of it. It says, but also left to them a world of memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid, man. So it says what? Wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her, man. So Lot was delivered because he had that wisdom. Scripture says he was a righteous man. But those fools, they perished, including his wife. Okay? And like we said, the Most High is going to get rid of that spirit of mirth in Babylon, man. It tells you that Revelation 18 chapter. Right? Verse 23. Alright, I think it's verse 22. You see? All that her wisdom, the scripture tell you, a bride, the bridegroom, or merchants, all her sorceries, the Most High is going to destroy all of it, man. Okay? So like I just said, hopefully this lesson was edifying. Like I say, call Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. Shalom.